All right, I need to think about which civilizations are considered old and culturally significant. The usual ones are Mesopotamia, Egypt, Indus Valley, China, Mesoamerica, Greece, Rome, etc. Each had notable leaders. For example, Egypt had pharaohs like Hatshepsut. Mesopotamia had Hammurabi or Sargon. China had emperors like Qin Shi Huang. Mesoamerica had Maya or Aztec rulers. Then there's Alexander the Great, Ashoka from India, etc. Now the image background. So what visual elements are associated with these leaders and their civilizations? Maybe architectural elements like pyramids, ziggurats, temples, palaces. Symbols of power like thrones, scepters, crowns. Cultural symbols like hieroglyphs, cuneiform tablets, pottery art. Also natural elements like rivers, Nile, Tigris, Euphrates, Yellow River, deserts, jungles for Mesoamerican cultures. Maybe celestial elements like sun, stars, since many ancient cultures had astronomical ties. The leaders themselves would be depicted in traditional attire. Egyptian pharaohs with Nemes headdresses, Mesopotamian leaders with cylindrical hats, Chinese emperors with dragon robes. Maybe include artifacts they're associated with, like the Code of Hammurabi, terracotta army, etc. The background should probably blend elements from their specific civilization. Maybe a collage of different elements from various civilizations, but that could get cluttered. Alternatively, a montage with different sections representing each leader and their culture. Colors would be earthy tones, gold, sand, stone textures to give an ancient feel. Maybe some faded or worn textures to show age. Also considering the historical context each leader's achievements. For example, Hammurabi's laws, Qin Shi Huang's unification of China, Ashoka's spread of Buddhism. Including symbols of their achievements could add depth. Maybe have them standing in front of their notable constructions, like the Great Wall for Qin Shi Huang, or the Mauryan Empire pillars for Ashoka. Lighting might be dramatic, with sunlight breaking through clouds to highlight their significance. Maybe some hieroglyphic or script patterns in the background. But the user might want a more artistic than cartographic background. Also, considering the artistic style, should it be realistic like a painting or more stylized with abstract elements? Maybe a mix with realistic leaders against stylized backgrounds. Or a mural-style image, as many ancient cultures used murals to depict their leaders and gods. Including religious or mythological symbols might be important, as many leaders were considered divine or had religious roles. For example, Egyptian gods associated with pharaohs, or the mandate of heaven for Chinese emperors. I should also think about the color palette. Rich blues and golds for Egypt, terracotta and browns for Mesopotamia, greens and reds for Mesoamerica, using these colors to differentiate sections or blend them harmoniously. Textures could include stone, papyrus, clay tablets, silk, jade, etc., to represent different materials used by these cultures. Maybe a weathered texture overlay to give an ancient look. In summary, the background needs to incorporate architectural elements, cultural symbols, natural landmarks, and artifacts associated with each prominent leader and their civilization. The composition should balance these elements without overcrowding, using a cohesive color scheme and textures that evoke antiquity. Including elements that highlight their achievements and legacy would add depth to the image. Visual concept for historical leaders of ancient civilizations. Background. Composition and layout. A panoramic mural blending iconic elements from major ancient civilizations, segmented by subtle borders, e.g. rivers, mountain ranges, to represent regions. Central focal points. Prominent leaders depicted in their traditional attire, each positioned near their cultural landmarks. Key civilizations and leaders. Egypt. Pharaoh Ramses II standing before the pyramids of Giza, adorned with a Nemes headdress and holding a crook and flail. Hieroglyphs and lotus motifs frame the scene. Mesopotamia. Hammurabi beside the Code of Hammurabi stele, with a ziggurat in the background. Cuneiform inscriptions and palm trees evoke the Fertile Crescent. China. Emperor Qin Shi Huang overlooking the terracotta army, with the Great Wall snaking through mountains. Dragon motifs and silk textures enrich the backdrop. Indus Valley. A priest-king figure from Mohenjo-Daro near a granary with Pashupati seal motifs and riverine patterns. Mesoamerica. A Maya ruler in a feathered headdress flanked by a stepped pyramid, Chichen Itza, and jade artifacts. Greco-Roman. Alexander the Great and Caesar in togas with Parthenon columns and Roman aqueducts. Symbols and textures, power and legacy, gold leaf accents, celestial symbols, sun, moon, stars, and divine rays highlighting leaders. Cultural artifacts, papyrus scrolls, clay tablets, silk, and jade embedded as textures. Natural elements, the Nile, Tigris-Euphrates, and Yellow River flow across the scene, connecting civilizations. Color palette, earthy tones, ochre sandstone, with regal accents, lapis lazuli blue, gold, crimson. Subtle gradients mimicking aged parchment or weathered stone. Lighting and atmosphere, dawn lighting, with soft rays illuminating leaders, symbolizing enlightenment and enduring influence. A faint overlay of ancient map fragments or star charts to evoke historical depth. Stylistic approach, a blend of realism, detailed figures, and stylized abstraction, mythological motifs, geometric borders. A slightly faded, sepia-toned finish to suggest antiquity. This design captures the grandeur and cultural essence of ancient leaders, merging their achievements with the visual identity of their civilizations.